What you are about to hear is highly classified.
Hey, welcome back to The Zone, everybody. I'm Brant Fowler, aka the Gonzo Goose, here with another Marvel Now review. I actually wasn't considering A plus X Marvel Now for whatever reason, but I guess they are, so I figured I better backtrack and do those before tackling new issues that come out this week. And so A plus X number 1 and number 2 are what I'm going to cover this time. And I wasn't sure what to think about this series because, I think myself, like everybody, was thinking, okay, this is just going to be like AVX Versus. It's just going to be these pointless little team-ups, but it's not. This is actually the new evolution of Marvel team-up, in my opinion. And basically this series is teaming up an X-Man or woman and an Avenger. And they battle some kind of evil, but it's these fun little done-in-one stories, and there's usually some kind of humor element to them, or it's just, so far they've been really good. The first issue had Captain America and Cable versus some Nazi Sentinels. That was a pretty cool thing. It was written by Dan Slott, who I admit I'm not a huge fan of, but this story, I have to say, was fantastic, and the art by Ron Garney, and the art is beautiful too. And basically this story, I love the way, before I get into the story, I love the way the issue starts out. It starts out with like this little Q&A telling you what this thing is, and the last question is like, so where do these take place in each character's continuity? And they're like, stop thinking so much. It takes place where it takes place. That's it. Just enjoy it. And I appreciate that. I think that's cool. So this first story takes place back during World War II, and it's Bucky and Cap, and they're fighting some kind of Nazi robots, and one of them is a Sentinel because it's Atticus Trask, and Cable comes back from the future, and he's teaming up with Cap. So it's Cap and Cable versus a giant Nazi Sentinel. So I mean, it was really well written. The art was fantastic. Again, I was really impressed. The period dialogue from Slott plus the current dialogue from that he used for Cable was just spot on. And there was Trask was saying he was going to Instagram with a 70s filter this photo back in 1943, so it was kind of a cool little exchange. The second story wasn't quite as good, but it was still fun, and it kind of teased some future developments. And it was Hulk and Wolverine. First they were fighting over who gets the last piece of cake, which was kind of funny, versus Hulk and Wolverine. Yeah, I'll let that sink in. It was Old Man Hulk, Logan and Old Man Hulk back from the future to take out somebody, but they don't reveal who. And I don't really want to give it away in case you want to read this. This was written by Jeff Loeb with art by Dale Keown. And actually, I really did like Keown's art in most of the story. There was a couple of panels that was like, but and Loeb, he's really hit or miss, but this story was okay. It was a short battle between the two versions of each other, and then Old Man Hulk and Logan go back into the future, and we see who gave them the instructions and who they were supposed to kill. So that was it was interesting. So this first issue, it was like the first story was really great. The second story was decent, but overall the issue was pretty fun. So yeah, I'd give this one a 3.5 out of 5, just because that second story was just okay. And, but it was a fun series, or fun issue with a couple of great stories. Now, the second issue I liked a lot better. But still, the lead story, and I think they're really wisely picking these lead stories, because the lead stories so far seem to be the better ones. And the lead story in this one is Black Widow and Rogue against a Sentinel. Yeah, there's a theme here, but it's a totally different kind of Sentinel. But it's Black Widow. It starts off with Black Widow and in a beauty salon and her new bragging about her new car, and then the Sentinel lands on the car, and then Rogue pops up, and they engage in battle, and there's this really cool scene where Black Widow, she's going to take out the Sentinel, but she can't shoot it that far away because her trigger finger is broken. She doesn't think it's going to be steady enough. And Rogue says, well, I can't do it. I don't have that training. And she said, yes, you do. And she plants a wet one on her. She gets her so Rogue absorbs the ability, and she goes, oh, super spy secrets. Alright, let's focus. And then, they go on with it, and then they end up in the salon together. And it was just a cute story, and it was written and drawn by Chris Baccello. And it was fantastic. The writing was witty, fun, action-packed, and the art was beautiful, and just the facial expressions were dead on. It was a 5-star story, I have to say. The second story was it featured Iron Man and Kitty Pryde versus, well, I'll let that out of the bag in a minute. But basically, Tony Stark is trying to recruit Kitty Pryde to work for Resilient, and she, him and Pepper Potts are giving her the spiel, and they've come up with this way to possibly synthesize Pym particles as a weight loss thing. So they're explaining that and everything. Then all of a sudden, the whole story, Kitty Pryde's got like an allergic reaction, and she's sneezing and stuff. And there was a funny scene where Lockheed just swallows this watermelon, and you'd have to read it to understand. Oh, by the way, this is written by Peter David with art by Mike Del Mundo. And so it gets to the point where they're at the Pym particles, and she sneezes, and then there's something contaminating the Pym particles, and it happens to be these brood creatures. And she's like, oh, they came from me. And she was like, yeah, I got pregnant by the brood not too long ago. And Iron Man was like, you what? And there was I can't remember the exact dialogue, but there was something that she said, or something that he said about he was showing her the armor that he had displayed. There was like 5 suits of Iron Man armor on display that you could just walk out, and she was geeking out about seeing it. And he said to her later on something about you have a uterus in your head, and you've been carrying around brood creatures, and you're impressed by my armor, or something like that. I don't remember the exact exchange, and I may be getting scenes mixed up, but it was a cute exchange, and it was funny. So yeah, these brood creatures came out of her, so they were battling. Oh, that's what it was. It was because he armored up really fast, and that's where the comparison was. And so it was a fun story as well. But at the very end, I have to spoil this because I can't believe they went there. It was kind of funny. She phased. The brood got into the Iron Man armors. That's what they were after, and she phased through them and explained that any electrical equipment or suits or anything she can phase through, and it shorts them out. And if you're wearing it at the time, it's intensely painful. And Iron Man says, so having you around would be like Superman having kryptonite around all the time. And they actually said Superman had kryptonite. And she said, yeah. And she said, I'll let myself out. And he said, yeah, that's a good idea. So that nixed him trying to hire her. So that was funny. Like I said, the writing was witty. It was fun. But the art was a little off. There was some weird foreshortening going on where their legs looked way too long for their bodies, and the arms, it was just weird. It was a very stylized kind of art, but it was just awkward looking at parts. So it wasn't the greatest art, but the story was solid. So for this one, I'll give it a 4 out of 5. So 3.5 out of 5 for the first issue, 4 out of 5 for the second issue. And so far, I'm really enjoying this series, and I'd recommend it if you're into like those Dunham 1 team-up kind of stories. You'll definitely love this, so check it out. And that's going to do me for this Marvel Now review. And please check back on the channel for more Marvel Now reviews, more other reviews. Check out my reviews on Dark Avenger Inc. I'm going to be starting to review The Walking Dead, starting with this week actually, every month. So issue 105, I'll be reviewing that sometime this week. And check out Zone 4, new episode coming up this Friday, episode 196. And of course, as we were counting down to our live 200th episode on January 11th, so mark your calendars for that one. And subscribe to the channel wherever it is. And yeah, that's it, I guess. So I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
This has been a Gonzo Goose production.